Feel like you've aged out of parenthood? Are you finally ready to be a mother, but the alarm on your biological clock has been going off for 15 years? The good news, life can change in an instant. Trust me, I should know. And remember, don't call me ma'am, call me mom. Hey everyone, welcome to Don't Call Me Ma'am. Remember, don't call me ma'am, but you can call me mom. Yes. These episodes are all about my journey to motherhood, and I am beyond excited for this next guest because she's not only an amazing human, writer, comedian, producer, and mom. She's one of my really good friends. We are forever tied to each other, and we'll get into that. She's the mom of two amazing little boys. Start clapping right now for Jess Golden.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
I know.
I love you so much.
I love you so much. I'm just gonna let's just sum up our history together before we even get into it. We definitely knew each other on the stand-up comedy scene, back in the day.
Yeah.
I definitely remember seeing you perform. And the one thing that really stuck out to me is you were doing a couple jokes and you were the first person I heard on stage abbreviating or shortening words like sesh or I'm going to a sesh, I'm doing it, whatever. I was like, what? But you could you were so funny that I was just oh my God, hilarious.
Thank you. The good news is that was 20 something years ago and no one knows that I started it. So
you did start it.
It's just the fun, no credit.
I know. And I'm giving you credit right here on this podcast, everyone. She created it. That's all about.
All that language that you
that language you guys hear when they shorten it and they're I have an audition. That's her.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did it. Cut 2 years later, I start working on this amazing show called Funny You Should Ask. And these, I was working on the pilots. We come back. I was the head writer. And I was like, oh, we've got new writers. And one of them is Jess, and you came on, you were just let's talk about Viagra.
Right. Well, that's a prerequisite.
It was a prerequisite.
You need to be able to talk about Viagra.
Yes.
But Jodi's the best boss. We had so much fun.
So much fun.
Hopefully we'll continue to have
I know.
fun.
We will. Fingers crossed, guys. We're coming back. But I remember it was there were only 2 writers' rooms at the time. You were in mine. I remember you and Vanessa got into it too.
Oh, yeah, we did.
You're such a tiny little wafer. You were what? Blah, blah. I was just but this is what happens in
Took her a minute.
Yeah. But then.
It's just another loud, crazy Jewish girl.
Yes,
okay, I get it now.
There's 2 of us. And then you got married. I remember that. You're anytime I'm getting married to my girlfriend. You guys went to some amazing cliff or something. Didn't you go
almost jumps? Right.
Yeah, whatever. Cut 2. God, it was, I don't know. Was it our second season or third season?
Second 2018.
Season. Yeah, so it was our second season. I remember you specifically called me in to tell me, and I don't know if you had already told our executive producer at the time, but you guys were in the foster to adopt system. You were in the foster system, which basically means at any point they could get a phone call that says you're a parent.
Right.
Correct?
Or if you want to be a parent.
If you want to be a
parent. That's an option.
Right.
Or,
exactly.
They'll give you the circumstances.
When you guys were doing that,
yeah.
Did you, because you got a newborn, now, was that an option?
Yeah.
Can you say, I don't want a newborn, or
yes.
I do want a newborn,
yes.
but you specifically
you
want?
You can specify what age range you're open to. And we definitely wanted a newborn.
Right.
And the crazy thing is...
You wanted to fuck him up from birth.
Yes, from birth.
Me too.
If I'm going to fuck him up, I want to start her.
Right away.
Yeah. Okay. So when he goes to therapy, it's going to be about... me,
yes, you. Yes, exactly.
So... if we're jumping to the day that I got that call, do you know that earlier?
So quick. It's you told me that it was 2 weeks.
And then we turned, the first call that we got were something about this doesn't feel right.
Really?
Yeah.
You never told me that.
Because I think it was the same day. And then it was a few hours later, it was another call. But that one felt right. I think the first call, they said, we can't get a hold of the parents that have the biological siblings of this baby. And it's been long enough where we have to make other calls. But it's it was unlike, we wanted, if at all possible, a situation where there looks like there could be a good chance that this baby would stay with you. Obviously, you want to root for, if it's a mom trying to reunify, of course, you want to see that person get all the help they can get. And you don't want to see someone's child taken from them.
No, of course not. So you guys get the call.
Yeah.
And then you were just immediately on maternity leave.
Right. I was like, do you mind? I think I have to go to the hospital.
I know. You're like, I'm leaving. And I'm like, did you turn in your jokes for today?
Right.
Did you write enough dick jokes?
Right.
Because you got 3 more to go.
I finished my final Viagra joke. And then
you left.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah. I wasn't going to stiff you.
Thank God.
What?
What? Oh, here we are. Still telling jokes. So you guys go. You're in, which now I completely can identify with, newborn hell.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Immediately.
I was so freaked out. So in the beginning, Nikki was much more, like, she was sort of driving the train of, like, let's go forward with this route.
Right.
We're ready. I was so nervous about all of these things. And I just remember when they came to do the interview of just seeing if you were prepared, and they handed us like a 50-page thing of, you just need to do these things, and I was like, my head was falling off, and Nikki's like, yeah, that's no big deal. I'm like, it's a huge deal.
Right.
But someone has to be able to go forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then when we took Lennon home from the hospital, I remember calling my cousin. I was like, I don't know, maybe this was like, maybe we went too far. Maybe this is like not the right. I was just so nervous.
Of course you are.
And then, of course, I fall madly in love with him.
Right. I mean, madly in love with him. And then, for those of you who don't know, I mean, obviously everybody knows, like, not everybody, but people see the way the foster system is represented in movies and television shows. But for you guys, immediately, you have this beautiful baby boy, and what was the schedule like? Because it's different, obviously.
Oh my gosh!
Adoption, were they like you had to? The birth mom was able to see him.
Oh,
the birth mom was
okay.
very
I thought
young.
you meant the schedule of sleeping.
I was just
because
sleeping. Oh yeah. No.
The funny thing is, the first day we took him home, and Nikki's mom, we like called her. We're like, please come out. So she came out, and the first night we're both getting up with him when he wakes up in the middle of the night, and she was laughing like, oh, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, of course.
And we quickly learned not to, we switch off. But so there were visitation rights, because with fostering, the difference between fostering and straight, or in my case, gay, or bi-curious, whatever your preference, adoption is, with fostering, it's not the mom saying, I want to give my child up.
Right.
It's, for whatever reason, the baby is taken from the...
Right.
In my son's case, the birth mom was very young, and it's a whole other story.
Right.
Was doing the best that she could. She was an amazing person, and just had some challenges. So she was very young and wasn't able to keep the baby at that time, but she would have visitation rights.
Right.
So I can't remember how soon that started, but pretty soon.
Right.
I think it's depending on the situation. I think it's you get like 1 or 2 a week. I mean, this is horrible because I can't remember exactly. But then when COVID hit, that changed things, and it went to virtual visits. And that was weekly, because we could do that worked for everyone's schedule.
So what was that like? I mean, here's my question. I mean, like, how are you, obviously forming a bond with this baby, and still trying to keep it in check, like we could lose him. He could go back with his mom, and you're watching them interact, and they have visitation, and then he comes back with you. I mean, how were you managing
every time the phone rings, your heart drops.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, or you get new information that you hear stories where, like,
because
someone
also
can come out of nowhere.
I was going to say, one of her relatives could have shown up, and then
So it is very nerve-wracking, and in our case, what's crazy is it actually, of all the situations, it kind of looked like it was going to go in, just given her horrific circumstances and being a child herself, it looked like it was going to go in the direction of Lennon staying with us, but you can never be obviously fully sure. And without getting to all of the complicated details, there didn't seem to be family members that would have been, able to take care of him,
right?
But it's every time the phone rings or the social worker calls or someone surfaces it, you don't know what it means, and it's
really scary. I mean, like I told you, I have a friend's married couple, they did that. They got a newborn. They had him for a year, and then they got that phone call, and that child was taken away from them. I couldn't even I couldn't imagine that. I remember when Mackenzie, right before her birthday party, when she was turning a year, I got an email from the birth mom's, like, her boyfriend at the time, or an old boyfriend, who she had either shown pictures of my daughter to him, because we have an open adoption, so I would email pictures to her, so she would show. I don't know if she's partying and she was like, look at this girl that
I'm
I
sure
gave
she's
this
showing
my
off
daughter.
how
Right,
cute.
of course.
She's gorgeous.
Hot baby alert. So she's probably like, look at this hot baby I produced. Yeah. So this guy out of the blue sent me this very long email, like, that's my child, and I didn't give her permission to put the baby up for adoption.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, when I say I went to a cold fucking sweat, it was like, I couldn't even imagine that you guys had that on the daily, getting phone calls. And I'm sure there were times, as the birth mom, Lennon's birth mom was getting older and older, that maybe she was like, I can do this maybe. There was probably back and forth, right?
Sure. But to sort of normalize the call that you got versus what we were going through, yours was completely out of the blue.
Right. And also,
terrifying.
Terrifying. And then my lawyer immediately was like, first of all the rights were signed away. It's been a year. This person would have to come to California and try to it was a lot of like, I want money from you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Type of thing. And then he came back a couple times, and I would just forward the emails to my lawyer, and then he just disappeared. Because he was like, I will take the DNA test. I will do all of that.
So
I mean, there were so many things that he was saying that he was like, this child, whatever. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so that's terrifying. But yes, I mean, it definitely was nerve-wracking. And knowing what I know now, it'd be very hard to be in that situation again.
Right.
But you asked something about how did I deal with it all the time, regularly, and as she was getting older.
Because I mean, for me, I am normally speaking for me, but there would be a part of me that's like, don't get too close.
Right.
Even though you have to
that's
get
what I was going to
close.
say. So in foster training, you do extensive training where they really try to prepare you, and they say, keep your foster hat on. You're going to want to put on your adoption hat, but keep it on. But you can't do that. It's like you have this child in your care that you're madly in love with. There's no such thing as like giving 50% and like, when we adopt you,
love you.
Then I'll love you. Right.
It's like every guy I dated.
Yeah,
like, I'm only like half in or half out. I mean, you're hot right now, but like.
Right, but fuck up and you'll be, So you just accept that there is a chance, you know what you signed up for, but you can't know. You can't really know. There's no way to understand the feeling that you have for a child. You can intellectualize it, but I mean, could you ever imagine how much you could love this little child so much, and the attachment that forms right away? In the beginning, I would try to like trick myself and be like, okay, I mean, this is like a weekend. I'm like, okay, if we got the call, like, I don't know, like, but as more and more time goes on, you're like, it's such a weird, two things are happening. On the one hand, you start to really develop, such care and compassion for this birth mom that you're forming a relationship with, and you want to see good things happen in her life. And then you're also madly in love with this child that you want to raise because you're in love with the child, and, you took the baby in day one or day two, whatever it was. And then really, I think for us, it got to a point where the best case scenario would have been where she wanted us to adopt Lennon. And then it was like with Vicky, well, I'm fast forwarding, we'll get into that. But that was like joyful in that she was like,
please, absolutely, yes. I mean, for me, in not any adoption, but like with my adoption, I remember my lawyer specifically telling me, this is the hardest way. I mean, it's the most shocking way for you, the most difficult way for you to, sort of, accept what's happening, but it's the best way, because this birth mother, Vicky, at the time, was ready to relinquish her rights because she's been this rodeo. It wasn't her first rodeo, but she was really like, and she had chosen me. Now, having said that, I remember when I was sitting with my lawyer, David, and he was saying that he doesn't, when he's looking for birth mom possibilities, he specifically does not pick, even though you'd think, oh, I want a teenage mom from a good family.
Oh,
he doesn't
right,
pick them
right.
because usually a family member does step up. Usually
Right.
her parents are like,
Right.
we'll raise the baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
in this adoption case, she had already had babies that she had, given up for adoption. So I knew that she wasn't going to, because that also happens, by the way. I'm not just talking about the
Yeah.
foster system
Yeah,
where they try to reunify, but in adoption, it happens so many times.
Yeah.
They give birth and then they're like, no. And they
Which
have like
again,
48
like,
hours.
what a
or
shock,
something.
'cause you've-
Oh my God,
For
yes.
6 months or however long you
Anticipated
were
this
aware
is
of it.
yeah, exactly. So it's really, there's just so many emotions. And I remember you going through that. I remember specifically at our friend Joe. I'm not going to give his nickname because it sounds
it could sound.
Anyway, it was right before the pandemic. He had, do you remember like a barbecue?
Yes.
And Lennon was like, I don't know, even 2 maybe?
Yeah.
Not even,
Yeah.
And I was like holding him and I have a picture and we both
Yeah.
had a bottle in our mouth. Anyway, a baby bottle, not a real bottle. But you still at that point where, and this is what I was going to ask you because
He wasn't 3. It was
he wasn't. No, he wasn't walking.
right. We didn't legally adopt him until he was almost 3.
Right. I remember that was during the pandemic because I
Yeah.
remember you sent me a picture of you guys. I think you did it virtually, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, which by the way, I never had that moment. I wasn't in a court. I had it in my driveway when I just got, because it also was the pandemic, but I got, she was a year old. So we were really pretty much out of the pandemic, but I just got it in the mail. It was like, she's your girl.
Right.
I was like, I
That's
didn't get
it.
that moment that everyone's like, it's our baby. And they're like, congratulations. I was like, didn't happen for me like that. It was just like,
Right.
this is your child. And she's like
Right.
screaming in the back of my car. I'm like, I know. Yes, she's my baby. But here's the thing. And knowing you and I, similar personalities in the way we treat our birth moms in our lives.
Yeah.
I would have, was there ever any time in your
I know
life
you're
that you were
gonna
like,
say.
let's adopt her?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because she's young.
Yeah. So
And she was in and out of foster care herself, correct?
Yes. So she had been in the system and I'm trying to think like how much detail to go into because
Right,
some of it
yeah.
is extraneous, but
Yeah.
to answer that question, yes, obviously the thought occurred to us. And I remember once we called Nikki's mom saying like, you might need to adopt Lennon's birth mom. Like,
Oh my God.
because we knew if anyone
Right.
might,
Right.
I mean, we were kind of joking because
Right.
out of state, et cetera. But yeah, we cared so much for her
course.
and yes, we thought of all the possibilities. It obviously would not have been,
Right.
I don't even think you could do it because
Right.
legally it's like she wouldn't, if he was in foster care, she couldn't be living with him. But yes, the thought crosses your
Right,
mind of
of
like,
course.
here's this sweet young girl too, who also needs
never caught a break.
a good home.
All of
Right.
that, needs a good home. It's really
right.
so.
She was
yeah.
so resilient and amazing. How
Really, yes.
she would thank us all the time. She was so grateful. And
like Vicky.
yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah.
It's a lot like Vicky. I mean, a lot of people have had really horrible experiences, both with the foster care system. I have a friend, him and his wife. They wanted to adopt these two brothers, and they came to live with them, and it was like the foster situation for a little bit. And these two boys, they were never told that these two boys just had a lot of issues and a lot of anger issues. And the older one would definitely, convince the younger one to do, they were like abusing the dog, so they had to remove the dog from the household, and they were just very violent and aggressive. And then they started they were like 6 and 4, but they were like trying to cut them off. It was a really,
wow.
really violent situation, but they weren't even told. They didn't even know what they signed up for. It was really bad. And then unfortunately they just never, they were too traumatized by the whole experience because they loved these boys as well. They didn't
course.
want to.
And
they
what
didn't want-
happened to those boys
What
to
happened to
make-
those boys too? They didn't want to. It was really sad. So there are people that have had horrible situations like that. There are people that have had horrible adoption nightmare situations. A lot of things have happened. And I think for you and I, with the exception of a lot of the unknown for you, we definitely had easier times.
Well, bearing the lead.
I know. So
mean,
bearing the lead. So basically, cut to, well, a lot of things happened that sort of brought this all together. One, you inspired me to really pull the trigger on the adoption thing. So while you were working
looking
there,
at all the possibilities in
I
your
definitely
office,
signed
so-
up. I signed up, with my lawyer, and I got the retainer, and I had that, and with the agency, and I was going through the classes, and then they started sending me birth mom possibilities.
Yep.
And I would call you into my office,
Yep.
and we would look through them, and we're like, well, she's a prostitute, and she's already had 12 kids, and we're like, maybe her, maybe this person, you know what I mean? And you can be really choosy, and that was a big thing. Like, this is your child.
I prefer a prostitute.
It's a prostitute, yeah. So, and then there was this one woman, and her mother had schizophrenia. She did not, but I was like, in my mind, I was like,
Right.
it skips a generation.
Yeah,
I just was like, you don't know, you know what I
Right.
mean? So, like,
But I do remember that things looked pretty good from the beginning with Vicky as far as
So here's the crazy
Okay.
thing. All right, so for me as a single person, the pecking order, and I've spoken about this before, is a lot lower. It goes straight couples, gay couples, single women, single men, as far as the pecking order of what birth parents choose when they're looking at possibilities. Like they get a whole bunch of possibilities and then they go through them. So I knew it was going to take me a little bit longer. And now talking to my other friends that literally went with my lawyer and the same agency, they were getting 5 to 6 birth mom possibilities a week, and I got in total, I think, 6 in a year and a half. Now, COVID was happening, but that shouldn't have stopped. People were still having babies. A lot of babies were actually happening. So now we're in the pandemic. We're deep in the pandemic. I'm a year and a half into it. And unfortunately, your mom passes away.
Right. Oh my gosh,
Yes, your mom passes away. And I definitely felt more of a connection even with you because my mom passed away. And
both from cancer.
Both from cancer. And even though your mom, it was longer, right?
My mom was diagnosed 15 years before she passed away, and it was kind of insane. She was so incredible how she handled. I didn't know this at the time, but they told my dad. He remembers. He's like, the doctor told me maybe 5 years. He remembers his knees buckling. Oh my God! But I didn't know that. But she lived 15 years.
Wow, amazing.
So that was crazy.
But I remember when you were, just because of work-wise, when you were like my mom, and then you were traveling there, and then obviously she passed. And I'll never forget. So, all right. So then cut to your mom passed. When did your mom pass? What?
December of 2022.
22. So November of 2022.
Yeah.
1 month before your mom passed, I got an email from Vicky, the birth mom, Vickers.
Yeah.
We love to call her.
We love it.
Because I was like, how was your Thanksgiving? Sending you happy Thanksgiving. Here's pictures of Mackenzie. And she was, I'm just going to give her a Southern accent because Kentucky. And and she was like, y'all, we had a good one. Y'all, it's just cold and, a lot of y'alls, a lot of typos. But then she just like, as if she was telling me that it's sunny outside, she's like, and I'm pregnant again. Right. And I remember I just stared at the screen, the email. I was looking at it. And I knew, that she would, they made, the caseworker in Kentucky, Rebecca, let me know that Vicky
Speaking of a Southern accent.
Exactly. Speaking of Southern, that baby's biracial is the first thing she said to me. I was like, bi or bi?
Right.
Bi.
I forgot she thought Mackenzie was biracial.
She did. She completely said that. And also
because of what Vicky said. Okay.
Because of what Vicky said. Because when my daughter was born, the birth mom, the first question she asked was, is she black or white? Right. I mean, it's a valid question. I mean, look, I don't remember a lot of guys I slept with. Anyway, Rebecca, I'll just never forget this though. I'm in a state of panic, shock, everything, circling my house like a shark. Just like I definitely like put a groove in my living room carpet, like just like it was going around in a circle. And Rebecca just kept saying, she's like, so Victoria, blah, blah, blah. And I had already known at that time she'd been pregnant 13 times. So I just, because I'm a comic and I can't help myself, I go, stop, hold, wait a second. She's definitely goes by Vicky, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, she's Vicky. I go, yeah, because Victoria's the queen.
Right.
Vicky gives birth 13 times. Like, let's just, because Victoria, I'm like, who's this, not that there's anything wrong with being pregnant 13 times. Right. Anyway, so I knew when I read that line, I am pregnant again, LOL.
Yeah.
That she's like, and I don't know if I'm going to go through the the agency again, or I'm going to figure something out, LOL, which she's basically like,
right, are you taking this baby?
Are you taking this baby or what?
Right.
Are we just going to do it and you just give me the cash?
Right.
And I mean, I guess I'm not lying when I say I don't think there was a moment that I was like, well, maybe. I think I knew in my heart, because Mackenzie was only like 15, 16 months, and I was like, just got through the, like non-sleeping phase. But there was a part of me that was like, Vicky, I can't, but I'm going to find, I know other people. And I originally thought of my two friends, Michael.
I remember meeting them.
Yes. Actually. Yeah. Amazing. Michael, they have 2 kids, and I remember thinking of them because at that time they only had their daughter, and they were looking to adopt again. Yeah. So I immediately texted him, and they were in the hospital with their second daughter.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
was a safe haven rescue, which means that baby was dropped off at the hospital. So it was like a done deal. Okay. Safe haven baby is like they just dropped the baby off at the fire department or the hospital, and it's just there's nobody to contest.
Right.
And so they got right anyway. So he had his baby. I didn't actually even think of you. I told him think of other people, hopefully in California. Anyway, cut to. Right after your mom had passed, it wasn't even that long afterwards.
I remember this call exactly. I remember where I was.
Did you just have surgery too? Did you just have?
I was about to have surgery, but there's so much that I never told you that is
I can't wait to hear. So anyway, I am in the parking lot of Planet Fitness, guys. At that time, it was $10 a month, and now it's $15. That's a whole different podcast. How could they raise it $5? No, but I just worked out, proud of myself that I'd done it, and I was thinking about you a lot because losing your mom is just devastating. And I called you just to see how you were doing. That was my entire intention. But when I say in that car, in that parking lot of Planet Fitness in a very sketchy part of town, there was a voice that was like, ask her if she wants this baby. Tell her. It would not stop. And then I was having this inner dialogue. I'm like, she just lost her mom. The handbook says you can't make any big life decisions when you've lost a parent.
Well, here's what's so crazy. Okay, and I remember everything about that call, exactly where I was.
Where were you?
I was in the bathroom. I don't know why. Maybe I went in there to take the call because Lennon, who knows? But anyway, I remember, so I get the call and I remember hanging up with you, and I think to myself, I'm going to just run this by Nikki.
I think
part of me was like, I'm not even going to tell Nikki. I'm not ready. My mom had just died. And then I'm like, no, I can't not tell. I'm going to tell her. She'll say, no, it's not the right time, and we'll move on.
Right.
So I tell Nikki, and she's like, oh, we should absolutely see this through. And I'm like, what?
I know. I was so shocked because I said it to you.
Yeah.
But the way I said it, the reason it did pop in my mind at that moment is because you said, we've been talking about adopting again, but we don't want to go through we don't think we can emotionally go through that again. So all I knew in my mind, and I think I said it to you on the phone, is I was like, look, it's probably not the right time at all. Mackenzie's birth mom is pregnant again. And if you guys want this, it is a sure thing. And you never hear that.
Never hear that.
You never hear that. But I knew it would be. I knew if I told Vicky, I found the perfect parents for this child. And that 2 of your children would grow up knowing each other because they'd live so close to each other. I knew she would be like, yes. But I didn't. Your response was, let me ask Nick.
Right.
It's just so
that's my go-to. I can't make a decision because I'm in no state. But let me just see. So anyway, this was what's so funny, how things flipped. So I did have surgery after that.
Yeah.
I had my first surgery. And then I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was after my first surgery because I had, not to brag, a preventative double mastectomy. So it's a 2-parter.
You should see your boobs now, though.
Yeah, first you get, I think they can. But first you get expanders, which are temps, and then you get implants. So they give you a lot of opiates after your first.
Jealous.
Well, it might make you become a mom is where I'm going with this.
I'm sure it has.
So I was ready to adopt a giraffe. Yeah, right.
It 100% makes you become a mom.
Yeah, in various ways. I guess that's the point. But So I just had surgery again. Nikki's mom is in town because she's like, I know your mom would want to be here, but it's a little hard when you're no longer living.
Right, yeah.
So, but I'm sure she was.
Oh, it was definitely my mom's voice and probably your mom's voice in my car.
I'm
in
sure
the
my
Planet
mom's saying, I
Fitness
don't know if my
parking lot.
daughter can handle this, but maybe.
But they were just like probably arguing back and forth to Jewish moms, just like, tell her.
Right, exactly. So then something comes over me. So Nikki was the one who's like, let's just see it through. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll see it through. And then something will come up and we'll veer. I don't know. But then it's February or March or something. And what we know about Vicky, her pregnancies are shorter than your average bird.
Right.
So anyway, because I think Mackenzie was born at 7 months?
So we're laughing because you'll find out in a second. You just have to stay tuned. So in between that though, you had just had your surgery and I brought my daughter over because Nikki had never met Mackenzie.
Yes.
And you were like, you've got to see how beautiful this girl. That's how we're selling it to your wife. Like, look how hot this little tiny 2-year-old is.
Looks don't matter. But if you're picking a baby.
If you're picking a baby. And then
if you happen to see a biological sibling that's drop dead gorgeous,
so
it doesn't hurt.
But also, you know what? It was, and I remember we said this too. It was, I think it was that terrible rainstorm. We actually came over because our lights went out. So we came over and Lennon and Mackenzie were just running around playing. And I remember all three of us saying, even if this adoption for you guys doesn't work out, it's actually be really great for them to have each other because they have shared experience.
Totally.
You know, and it was a great thing.
Yes.
And okay.
So I'm, flying on recovering from surgery.
Right.
Nikki's mom's in town. And something comes over me and I'm like, you know what? Oh, we'd also heard from Vicky. She was basically like, yeah, let's do this. Great.
Exactly what she was like.
And so we knew the baby could be coming in the next couple months or so.
I think it still had 3 months. What was it? If it was February, then
he was born in
in March.
Spoilers,
but I mean, I think it was February and you guys assumed April or May.
We're thinking April. So I'm recovering and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. I say we go forward. Again, I would have adopted a giraffe at that point. And then to the point where Nikki's
Spoiler alert, they have a giraffe in their backyard. It's so weird.
It's so weird. And a zoo. So Nikki's mom, who would be all for adopting babies, having more kids, even she was like, Nikki, are you sure Jessica's going to want to go forward with this when the opiates wear off? Everyone was like, and Nikki was even like, I don't know, maybe this is not, because once I was like, she's so used to having someone pushing back, on any big life decision, I'm the slowdown.
Right.
And when I was like, oh no, let's go forward 100%, then she was like, what? I don't know. So I was like, nope. I say we do it. If we go to Louisville and something doesn't feel right, because Louisville's where Vic is, or Victoria, and and I said, but let's just go. And then the funniest is, I don't know if it's the funniest, but the day he was born, there was we have to tell them there's a false alarm.
There's a false alarm. I get the call from you guys.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Right,
Vicky's in labor. This was late February. I was like, what?
So we get on a plane.
Get on a plane with your son.
Have Nikki's mom come at once again. Nikki's mom. Ledums, you're getting a lot of shout outs in this episode. But so she, Ledums for Colette. But so she, just in case, because I know her fan base listens. So she comes to Louisville. We get there. Vicky. A lot of ickies in this story. So we meet Vicky and Billy. Who we're
pretty sure is the bio dad, and she's got a serious crush on.
Love. He's such a wonderful guy. But anyway, so we meet them. Vicky goes a little MIA for a couple days, we think. And she was like, you know what? I don't need to I'll know when it's time to go to the hospital. We're like, okay, I don't know if that's how it works, but you tell us, Vic. So we're just hanging in Louisville. And then she goes to the hospital. That's when the Rebecca of it all comes down, and it's a whole other sidetrack. But the short version is classic case of you think it's a baby, it's a UTI.
UTI, shit, a UTI, everyone.
So we fly back to LA, no baby, just some UTI medication for Vic.
All good.
And 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later.
Or maybe 1 week.
But no,
We
I
get-
think it was like 2.
Okay,
Maybe,
2 weeks.
yeah, it was
2
pretty.
weeks.
I'm sure it was pretty 2. Yeah.
So then we get the call. She had the baby.
Yeah.
And guess how many seats are available on the first flight? Just one. So Nikki goes out first, and I'm like, if you get there and it doesn't seem right, tell me, and I won't come. No, but she gets there first. I get on the next flight, and I remember, Nikki calls me. Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful. He's healthy. He was in the NICU, but he was doing well, and then I flew out there, and
That was it. You guys were there a month though, right?
a month. It was
Month,
crazy.
and you had that babysitter that was helping out
Mopalawasa?
with Lennon and
Yeah, we had a babysitter who came over, and day one, she's just like, can I get the Wi-Fi? Kicks her feet up, takes out snacks, putting in headphones. I'm like, wait, what? I'm not sure if that's how babysitting works, but
then she had her
I don't
kids
live
there,
here.
and then Kentucky's totally different.
Then it became right. You can keep coming. You just have to bring your kids because they'll play with my son.
Exactly.
If you won't, your kids will.
Somebody will. So yeah, you guys are there a month, then you come home, and then the kids finally meet each other, and we have a beautiful picture that you guys gave me.
And they look
for my
alike.
birthday.
Our
They
kids
look alike, and they
so much
sound
alike.
alike.
They have the same
And
wine.
They have the same wine. It's really annoying. It's just like stereo. I remember one time when Shai was just, oh God, not even a year old, but he was laying down, and I heard a whining,
You're
and
like, "Is that
I literally,
Mackenzie?"
I go, Mackenzie, what? And then I was like, oh my God, it's not. And then Mackenzie had a total meltdown on the way out, and your sitter came in and thought it was Shai. Remember, she
Oh,
was like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Their,
yeah.
their voice, that's the crazy part.
Yeah,
And
and their little
now, he's, oh my God,
But
both
it's so
of your
cute with
children
the
are so
three of
beautiful.
them. Thank you, as is yours.
Thank you.
But to see the three of them play is the sweetest, cutest thing.
And they're at a great age too, because Lennon's 6,
Or
Mackenzie's
6,
4,
4, and 2, yeah.
6, 4, and 2, and they're
well,
just
Leonard
really,
or Shai will be 2.
yes,
Right.
any second. But it is crazy, and it is. Whenever I think about the story, whenever I write it down, and I tell it to people, it really reminds me. If you think about all the things that had to happen
my
for
God.
this to happen,
It's the
even for
craziest.
me to have Mackenzie, not that I wouldn't have eventually gotten to the adoption place, but you were pivotal in the fact that we were working together. So we were spending every day
Yeah.
together. I watched what you went through.
Yeah.
I asked questions. Then it was really instrumental in me deciding, yes, I'm actually going to do this. Just a
Yeah.
little bit different, but I'm going to do this. So if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have had this child with this birth mom,
Right.
who eventually had another child, which became your child.
And it goes back so much further. That all the things in our life that made us work at the same place. You know
made
what
us
I mean?
work at the same place, doing the same thing, knowing the same
crazy.
people to bring us together.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It's amazing. And I still am always amazed at, honestly, I mean, for you, it was a little bit more difficult with Lennon, but still a pretty easy situation. But these 2 adoptions, it's unheard of how
unheard of.
easy
Unheard
it
of.
was for me, for you.
You gave us the biggest gift in the world I remember David saying, this is a bird in hand, David, the adoption
yes.
lawyer. That does not happen. People wait years, especially, again, not bragging with our credentials. We were not the highest on people's list.
Yeah.
Per se. But people like Vicky that get it, they're like, yeah, this is who I want.
This is who I want. Our birth mom, Vicky, we can't say enough amazing things about her. She's hilarious.
Such a character.
She's such a character. Just really funny things, and has been through a lot. And really makes beautiful children.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've definitely found, well, your wife in particular, who's like a super sleuth, has found her other, she's,
she's
by the
got
way,
a lot
Vicky's
of
got
kids.
multiple Facebook accounts.
Yeah.
So, which I could never even, that was the thing. You guys, and I'm jealous of that. You got to spend time with Vicky,
Yeah.
and I really do want to
Billy.
take, and
Shai's
Billy,
dad.
and Shai's dad, but we don't know
Birth
Mackenzie's
dad,
dad, birth dad. We don't know. I mean, maybe with the 23andMe, we'll eventually find him. But I mean, I will eventually, if it is safe and I will bring Mackenzie to Kentucky,
Yeah.
to meet Vicky.
She would love.
And she would love that, and I would love that for Mackenzie, because a lot of people, and I think these are just maybe people that are my friends or remember how adoption used to be only closed adoption. So a lot of people that are used to that,
Right, they're not.
They were very nervous that I had an open
same.
adoption. Same with you, right? People were like, "What if they want them back?" I'm like, "That's not how it works."
Right. You learn so much with this training that it's actually the best thing for your child.
Best thing for your child. For anybody out there, yes. It takes away all of the wondering, the mystery of like, was I abandoned? Was I not wanted? Honestly, for anybody considering adoption, fostering, or adoption, by the way, all the information to all of my guests will be on my on the YouTube page, on my page, so you can look at all of that. But I mean, anybody that's considering that, open adoption is by far the way to go, because from the very beginning, Mackenzie was 3 months old, was the first time I remember I emailed, or maybe 4 months old, I emailed Vicky, and I was nervous.
Yeah.
Not that I knew that she couldn't change her mind and get her back.
Right.
I don't know what I was really nervous about. I also was like,
everything you're taught your whole life that we've learned about adoption is
right. And I didn't meet her. She for Mackenzie's birth, she was there.
Oh,
the
right.
nurses said she came down once with her new boyfriend, not Billy, a different boyfriend, and popped her head in the NICU. And then checked out the next day and went right to Victoria's Secret. I know that because
we got her some things that Vicky
she loves it. I mean, her name is Victoria. So and we both really did want to meet each other, and she did tell me that she did. But I sent her this email.
Obviously, you're very much in touch with her now.
I know, we really are now. We all text, but I sent her, this email with the pictures, and the email I got back very quickly. I mean, I don't think I could stop crying. It was like, she was so blown away. And I think because the 2 children before my daughter were also an open adoption, and those parents did not ever reach out to her, which is sad. Yeah. So she's like, I can't believe you reached out to me. I have never seen one of my babies that's been given up, and this is amazing. And then she was like, I wish I could take care of her. I wish I was able to. I'm not, but I'm so happy that you're her mommy. I mean, everything my daughter is going to want to read one day, and everything I needed to hear.
That's so great.
Because you want that. You want, you know what I mean? How you said you wanted, you know what I mean? Like the way that Vicky gave her blessing for you guys.
It felt like almost like a surrogate.
Yes, it felt a little bit like that. And then for me too.
So happy for us.
So happy. And then again, I got another, when you guys got shy, I got another just like unprompted
call. I hope
email.
I wasn't going to say a call that she's pregnant.
It wasn't a call. It was another amazing email from her that just was thanking me for sending you guys to her. She called all of us angels, and she was like, I cannot thank you enough that 2 of my babies are together. And I was, of course, sobbing, and I'm like, you're the angel.
I know.
And I always, and I'm sure, and you guys do too, I always tell her, Mackenzie and I love you. I don't think she heard it enough growing up. I know she didn't. And it's important for her to know that we love her. You know what I mean? And she gave us the best gift ever.
Did. I think Vickers was in my dream last night, actually, now that not in that sense, but.
Hopefully, Vicky, maybe Vicky, you can watch this episode. We'll send it to you. Yeah. We love you.
We do love you, Vic. But yeah, she cracks me up. She just had the funniest one-liners. Like when we were in Kentucky, she just... Every time something came up, she had a funny response. She
is a very funny person, and it was my caseworker, Chantilly, out here, who they did everything virtually when they signed over the papers, called me up afterwards to say, I got the chills because I knew this was the absolute right match.
That was perfect.
It's like sometimes you see a match and you're like, oh, I don't know. But she's like, I knew right away. Yeah. She immediately started cracking jokes, and I knew like this girl was supposed to be with you. Yeah. Like it was all meant to be.
Mackenzie is so meant to be.
Oh my God, she's so meant to be. It's crazy. And Shai is so meant to be with you guys. I see him with Lennon and with you guys, and he looks like you guys. Like you know what I mean? It's all you guys all look.
It's funny.
It's kind of crazy.
Like Nikki. I like to think Lennon looks like me, but that's me taking false credit. But
take it. You guys both have great hair.
Very blessed. Yeah, our hair's pretty good.
You do have really. I mean, not that Shai doesn't have good hair, but his hair's like a thinner hair.
Yeah. Lennon
has got nice hair.
Yeah.
Look at that hair.
I mean, Mackenzie.
I'm Mackenzie. I mean,
no slouch either in the hair department.
She's got great hair. We actually, I think about it all the time. I actually talk about it too on stage, but like she it's interesting. She's not my bio daughter, but like,
I mean, look at your hair.
but I mean, she would say hair. We do, and my hair is naturally curly like hers. We're both athletic. We
both very pretty.
Thank you. We've both been single our whole lives. It's crazy.
That part's the craziest.
It's the craziest. I mean, look at her. I mean, actually, that's not true. She has 2 boyfriends.
Oh, yeah.
They were both
I think
at her
I met
birthday party.
one.
You met one. Yeah, there were 2 of them. They're like fighting for her at the table. All right, we're out of time. Thank you so much. I could talk to you for like hours and talk about Vicky for hours. And
it's so fun. Thanks for having me.
my God, thank you so much. And for anybody out there considering adoption, fostering, it's amazing. Please do it. Please at least get more information about it.
Oh, that was one thing I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to say that I really admired this about you, that you were so quick and able to pivot, or just anytime, like, it was like, okay, so maybe this way is not going to be, maybe this way, maybe that's not the birth mom. And I thought it was so cool that you were so open to any possibility. And I think that's really important when you're going through this process. And a lot of people are, I think, hesitant to adopt or whatever. Just because I understand you have something in your mind.
Yes.
And there are challenges along the way, and there's a cost involved.
Yes.
But anyway,
that's a really good point. And one of the episodes that will be out already by the time this episode airs out is Andalucia, who she was a mom. She's a young mom and did everything, or ate healthy, didn't do drugs, all the things. Vicky, used meth almost probably all of her pregnancies. My daughter was born with meth in her system. She's really healthy. We were taught in all of the classes what the drugs do. And honestly, the worst thing you can do as a pregnant woman is drink while pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
In utero. Like it's worse than any drugs, way worse than anything. Yeah. So I knew that, but I also knew that, this woman had given birth to a baby and she is a meth user. So, but it didn't scare me as much as it scared my dad. And then Andalucia, and we talked about this on the podcast, who did everything right. Her son is severely disabled and just has a genetic disorder. Yeah. And it's like, so you don't know is what I'm saying. You never, ever know. Just be open. Yes, David definitely, our lawyer, told us about that. Just be open to all the possibilities. Yeah. Do your research, obviously. Yeah. Talk to other parents that have adopted or have been in that system, or anybody else that that has gone through this. Just be open, because I was I was very open, and I think you guys were also very open too.
I think that you kind of have to.
You have to be,
and just because no matter which route you go, there are going to be challenges you didn't.
100%, absolutely. And that child ultimately was always meant to be your child.
I had a friend that used to say to me, "Your baby is out there,
yes,
and you will." You'll find your way to each other, however it's meant to be. And that stuck with me.
So really quickly, before we get out of time, because you mentioned this, I think it was before we even started this, was that you froze your eggs.
Yes, so I had to, again, I know I'm such a bragger with all my things, but I have the BRCA gene, so I removed my ovaries and fallopian tubes, and...
She's so thin now, guys. I mean, like...
I've wasted away from all of that. Who needs organs? And so before that, I didn't want any excuse to say, like, no, I can't have that procedure done, so I froze my eggs.
So why, just really quickly, why didn't you go that route?
Nikki and I, neither of us had this feeling of like, I have to have my own. My feeling was like, Nikki, you'd be a beautiful carrier. Why don't you? I really didn't want to be pregnant.
I did.
She didn't. Did you?
Still have those eggs? Do you know how expensive eggs are now?
I
though?
finally
like $12 a carton.
got rid of those eggs are really
all the eggs.
Please take only one.
You finally.
I finally only recently, but I said we don't need to store them anymore.
Right.
We can talk about that with the fertility doctor when you have her on.
Yes.
But it just didn't really speak to me. And we didn't even know for sure if we wanted kids.
Right.
But then I also remember exactly where I was when we had this talk. But Nikki and I, the thing that did resonate with both of us, if there's a child in the world that needs a home, it's already out there. So it's not like you're going to just fuck them up. You're not having a baby and then you're going to fuck them up and whatever. There's a child that's already out there that needs a home.
And then you can fuck them up.
Then you can fuck them up. So that just resonated more with both of us, because it was, we didn't want to make the decision like we're going to proactively have kids, but this makes it a little bit like it's more pressing. Yeah. And so, that was just the way that resonated with us. We just didn't have that urge to. I know it's crazy. We didn't want to reproduce these genes, but
I wanted to.
By the way, I used to laugh because my mom used to say, like, you really should have your own. Freeze your eggs. I'm like, Mom, I'm 4'9", ADHD. I have the gene for cancer. I have a gene for Tay-Sachs. It's like I have every trait that you would not want a child to have. This is what we need to reproduce. So, yeah, I didn't think the world needed more of us. So
They needed more of me. I'm like,
they need
so
more of you.
perfect.
Just not me.
But my eggs were just not, I didn't have good eggs.
Well,
They're not cage free.
you
My
got
eggs
the
were never
best.
cage free. So
well, that's probably what it was. The cage. You got the best little girl there is. So.
we have the best kids. We do. We're bragging. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, all the information will be on the YouTube page. I'll have the links down below if you're interested in adoption, foster, any of that.
Or losing any organ.
Or losing any
happy to
organs. Jess
walk
is
you through
obviously
it.
she walking through it, getting big boobs. I mean, they're killer boobs. They look a lot like your old boobs.
I that was the goal.
It was the goal. She's just like me, and I would look at her boobs at work. Obviously not sexual harassment. Just like you have to.
Just as like a professional courtesy.
Obviously. My name is Jodi Miller. Don't call me ma'am. Don't call her ma'am, but you can call both of us mom. Hey. Thanks for tuning in to Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't forget to subscribe and like so you never miss an episode. See you next time.